Welcome to the Big Girl Podcast with Terry Wayne and Gio on location. Where are you at, Gio?
That's right. Welcome to the Blame Girl podcast with Mr. Terry Wayne. We got Abby Ballin in the house. I'm on location at Hullabaloo. I won the contest last week and I'm on the showcase again. So I thought, why not shoot the show here? And Terry couldn't make it. So here we are. Did we all have a good weekend? Abby, how was your weekend?
I'm still feeling it, so pretty good.
Yeah. Did you have any shows? What'd you do this weekend?
I had Friday, I was in Margate at that Jesse's Sports Bar.
Oh yes.
With Brett Morris, yeah. So that was an interesting show. We had like probably the world's best heckler in the audience.
Oh yeah.
Full on wasted
and
bit.
It wasn't Brett.
What?
I said, and it wasn't Brett.
It's Brett. I know.
Wild, man. You know, we had Brett on the show last time we were here. Terry, tag me in that because I can't exactly share today because I'm using my phone, folks. So, Terry, how was your weekend?
It was glorious. I didn't do a damn thing. I played.
Those are the best.
Golf with Terry Sack on Saturday, and then absolutely nothing on Sunday. So
yeah.
Awesome.
I'm working way too much, and then I had a show on Sunday. So actually Saturday, I did not work. You know, I watched Coming to America. Did y'all see that yet?
Yeah, I watched it this weekend. You know, I don't know why it's getting all the hate. It's a perfectly serviceable sequel. You know, was it as good as the original? No, but what is? You know?
Yeah.
Ghostbusters 2 was fine, but is it Ghostbusters 1? No.
Yeah. Did you like it, Abby?
Terrible place.
Oh, I'm having a blonde moment, even though this is a bottle job. I thought you meant the original. I didn't even know that there was a sequel coming out. I'm like, yeah, I totally saw it coming.
Came out Friday
on Amazon right now.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
And it's like everyone's saying it's, you know, like they're complaining about it, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, in my opinion. So, but anyways, let's get to it, folks. I think this might get Terry's attention. He's on his phone sharing.
I'm sharing.
I know. Abortions helped the COVID-19 pandemic. Who's to blame?
My attention.
I don't know. The word abortion, I thought maybe.
No, not really.
I'm so unbothered today. But yeah, abortions help the COVID-19 pandemic, guys. Who is to blame? If you don't know out there, Johnson & Johnson, they did use aborted fetal cell lines in the vaccine, which were removed before they vaccinated people. But I think it's ironic and interesting. Why are we in this situation that we are using life to save life, if you will?
I mean, look, I always disagreed with not doing stem cell research to begin with, just because it's, you know, it just makes people feel.
With it?
Huh?
You always disagreed with it?
100%. Yeah. Even when I was a conservative, I didn't understand the difference because it's not like, you know, these are cells from already aborted fetuses. Why just throw them in the garbage? You know, like when they've been shown to do massive amounts of headway with, you know, repairing spinal cords and
I think what I'm missing is that what you're leaving out is like they're not using stem cells here, they're using aborted fetal tissue. Stem cells are when they grow them, right? Specifically for the purpose of using them.
Well, stem cells are cells that they take out of aborted fetuses. And then what it is they're basically like, so the way I understand it is they're I don't know, they're like wild cards. They're like wild cards when it comes to cells. Like they're adaptable. They can adapt to different things. And then what they were doing was they were using that in research to try and heal everything from spinal cord injuries to cancers to this to that. And the only reason they never used them was because it was politically unpopular, because somebody found out that they came from aborted fetuses, and oh my God, it's got to be a freak out now. You know,
Definitely.
so I guess we just throw it in the garbage and waste. You know, it just doesn't make any sense.
But who's to blame, Terry? Who do you think's to blame, Abby, for us finding ourselves in a situation where we're using aborted fetal cells to save us from this pandemic?
Well, I don't know who's to blame, but I found the most interesting part of the article, the fact that the fetus they're using is from 1985. So that aborted fetus is like older than I am. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
So interesting to me is like, why that fetus? And they even have like when it was aborted, that it was an 18-week-old fetus, but it was aborted. They have all the information on it. So I'm curious as to like why that's so special. Why did that work? And I guess the science behind the whole thing is, it's not just like you said, using life to save life. It's like you kind of need to do that because it's like you can't test on something that's not living to know how it will change. Like it's how science is all figured out from day one. There's always been human testing, animal testing. I mean, on any vaccine, they test it on the military, do that just to figure out if things work or not. So
it sounds like you said you don't know who's to blame, but it sounds like you're saying maybe science is to blame here.
No, the conservative Christians
Let Terry mansplain to us who's to blame. Tell us, Terry. No, I'm asking.
Conservative Christians have been against stem cell research from the very beginning because they found out those cells came from aborted fetuses. So obviously they heard the A word. So obviously it's a bad thing, and that's it. So I mean, we probably could have got this vaccine in half the time if I mean, really because stem cell research in this country, at least as far as I know, is illegal because of that politicalness of it.
Yeah.
I remember when they were first trying it back in the early 2000s, and everybody, nope. And I said, what do you think's going to happen? Oh, somebody's going to hear about it, and they're just going to go, oh, well, let me get pregnant so I can abort this fetus so I can donate the cells. Like, I don't think that works that way, man. Like,
but they were growing them anyway. I think, I don't know. I think like
situation,
it's the pro-choice women of 1985, that we should blame for saving us from the COVID pandemic. They didn't even know about it, and they're saving us now. So, yeah, that was an interesting piece of the story. I didn't even realize it was from 1985.
We could blame the Catholic League for holding us back from having this vaccine 6 months ago. So,
yeah, you're right. I didn't say who's to blame for us not having it, though. It's for us having it. The libtards, it's the pro-choice women, it's the, science. So, but speaking of Catholics, the guy that was in Pelosi's office with his feet up on the desk, guys, he talking about it's unfair in the justice system. Who's to blame? Why does he all of a sudden realize this shit?
Well, he's to blame because he thought, just like the what is the shaman, the Q shaman guy?
Yeah, shaman.
Yeah, he was whining because he said, "Oh, well, we thought we were going to get pardons from Trump, and then we didn't." And it's like, yeah, but look at what you did. Yeah. I love that shit because we talked about it before. These are the same people that would bitch and moan when Colin Kaepernick would kneel for the flag, and then they used the flag to beat a cop to death. So there is no honor amongst these thieves. I really don't give a shit. But I enjoyed reading that article from start to finish just to hear him whine. Oh, it's so unfair. It's so unfair. Oh, here it is. That aren't you supposed to be the ones that say, stop being a victim? All right, well, stop being a victim and take your licks.
A snowflake. Abby, is he being a snowflake?
Maybe, but I agree with him. So maybe I'm a snowflake too. I don't know. But I feel like,
you agree that the justice system isn't fair?
Yeah, I mean, who thinks the justice system is fair? But in this case, he should be where he's at. Like,
Well,
it's
if you rob a bank and take a picture in the vault with the money and post it to the internet, yeah, you should probably, fair or unfair, you should probably be in jail.
so
Well,
yes, that's
what
not
he's saying is unfair is when you're in the court system, they will bump your hearings like nobody's business, and it will take forever. That's what's happening to him. That's what's happened to plenty of Americans throughout history. And now he's like, this is unfair. That's what happens when you break the law, though. You end up, and sometimes when you don't.
Yeah. The interesting thing with this was that the one guy who requested the organic food, somehow he actually did get moved to Virginia. And why is prisons in Virginia having organic food for prisoners? Because I want in. What crimes am I committing?
They've got some farms in Virginia.
Well,
the funny like this is exactly who should be just like lost in the system. Like this guy should just be, his trial should never shut.
The ironic part is the judge who denied him bail, the one that he's complaining about because he's being treated unfairly, she used to work in the Capitol on one of the justice boards. She used to work in the Capitol. So if she worked in the Capitol and now she's trying this guy for storming the Capitol, yeah, I bet she's not being lenient to you, and she shouldn't. You know what I mean? If you break into my house and I'm the judge, you know.
That's because the judge is part of Antifa.
Yeah, it must be. She's a
Antifa
part of
is making the justice system so unfair.
Yeah, she's
I heard something today, another story that like popped out to me. I guess one of the Trump people that's in there that was on the Trump administration that ended up in the federal prisons for breaking in. He's like complaining because cockroaches are crawling on him, and I fucking love it. They've been crawling on people. Like,
dude, they've been telling you the prison system is shitty for 40 years. Now you're listening. But this goes back to what I always say. Conservatives don't give a shit about any issue until it affects them directly. A perfect example of that was ex-Vice President Dick Cheney. His very hard line against homosexual rights and equality, very hard line against gay marriage, until his daughter came out as a lesbian. Then all of a sudden he was all about inclusion. And, I really changed my mind. It has to affect them directly. There's no empathy for anybody.
And his daughter still has trash politics, by the way. So, like, anyway.
Yeah.
So, we talked about Black Lives Matter last week, and we talked about what they were doing for the community in regards to, like, economic assistance. They came back on my radar this week, and I realized that they have struck fear into the heart of law enforcement, because these numbers where Black Lives Matter protests have occurred, it's decreased the police homicides by 15 to 20%. Whoa. People are always saying that Black Lives Matter doesn't do anything, but it's done that, Law enforcement, why are they scared of Black Lives Matter? Who's to blame?
Same reason they're scared of YouTube. You don't feel so bad when you think no one's watching, You notice how, like, you ever get in an elevator and you look around and there's no camera, and then you act very differently than if you were to look around and see there is a camera? It's the same reason. You don't want to get caught with your pants down. You don't want to get caught with your finger up your nose. You know what I mean? And that's their version of it, because now they know people are watching. Now they know there's some resistance,
So some of them, at least 15 to 20%, don't want to get caught like
well,
that.
It's not even that. You're just more aware of it because, when you're in a position of power and the serfs start to rise up, like, it puts you in a different mindset. All of a sudden, you're a lot more careful because you do see there's a camera there, or because you do see there's some accountability there. So you will act different. It's the same reason why people come on this show and talk differently than I know they talk to me when we're not doing it, you know?
Yeah.
You trying to call me out over here, Terry? What's happening?
Oh, no, not you in particular.
So what do you think, Abby? Why do you think law enforcement has maybe pulled back?
I mean, I agree with Terry. It's exactly the reason. It's accountability. It's if you don't, I was talking about this today. It was like if you didn't have speed limits, everyone would drive 100 or their max. If you didn't have a ticket enforced, like you need something to know you could get in trouble. Otherwise, why not fuck, do it? So they weren't getting in trouble. They weren't being held accountable. They could kind of do whatever whoever their boss allowed them to do. But now even the boss with it. So there's still issues, of course. It didn't solve everything, but you could see there's improvement as long as they're not letting it up. It will get better because it has to, because there's eyes on them. So
well, do you think that there's also some internal accountability? Internal accountability.
Yeah, of course there is. There's,
that's why. Do you think that's had an effect on the decrease of police on the side?
No police chief wants to be standing in front of a bank full of national reporters, because one of their cops did something they weren't supposed to do, so of course there's going to be pressure from that.
I really enjoy seeing what that organization has done, because I remember when it was formed. I remember why it was formed right after Trayvon Martin was shot here in Florida. And it's just been amazing to see it grow into this and actually affect change, and then do other stuff like the financial assistance. That's amazing.
Well, and the thing is, the people that are opposed to it, and you know who I'm talking about, the people who, will sit on Facebook and bitch and moan about Antifa or BLM. I don't even know why they put them in the same sentence, but they always
people
do.
That are in jail from the insurrection, those kind of people.
Well, it's not even that. It's that
those are the people that would be complaining about this organization. But look, now they're in jail complaining about how unfair the conditions are.
Well, listen, but think about the people who are so against the Black Lives Matter movement. You built this. You started this. You know what I mean? You're the ones that caused it. Trayvon Martin got shot and it was a tragedy. And do you know what those people did? They
celebrated his death.
Well, no, they created targets. I remember they created targets. You could go to the shooting range and you could buy a target with Trayvon Martin's picture on it.
That was awful. That was
so fucked up. And it's like, how long do you think you can pressure people and put this kind of weight on a group of people and then expect them not to rise up? You wouldn't do it. So get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. All right. Well, the world is just changing like crazy. And another way that it's changing, and another subject we touched on last week, was cancel culture. All right.
Yeah.
This week, guess who they're canceling? They got Pepe Le Pew this week. They got Tom and Jerry. They went after Eminem. So I want to talk about cancel culture, good and bad. Who's to blame? Why is it both good and bad? I think it's good in some ways, bad in some ways,
So Pepe Le Pew was like obviously my favorite fucking cartoon. Like he's me.
Really?
He's basically
you're Pepe Le Pew? Oh, that's so funny.
You come, like absolutely. I'm spraying perfume and squeezing the ladies. So to me, canceling Pepe Le Pew is a crime, and it can't be. I will march for that one.
There's a joke there. That's pretty funny.
But I'm so for the reasons behind why we're educating, updating, like actually talking about what was wrong in the past. But you can't erase it. You still need to understand it was a different time then, and some things were absolutely meant in a negative way and with innuendos and undertones that were racial, were feminine, or were sexist, were all those things. But some of it was just, that was the humor, and it was a joke, and it wasn't going that deep. It was a skunk who wanted to fall in love with a cat. You know, it's maybe creepy, but I mean, I remember watching it, and yeah, I'm the wrong person to ask because I'm a creep and I celebrate creep culture. I'm like, don't cancel me.
At least you admit it. At least you did it. What is that, Terry?
I said I'll second that, but I'm not seconding. I'll just second the creep factor, but I'm not going to second. I'm actually going to disagree with this one. I think that cancel culture is going a little bit too far, but this is the thing. That's just my opinion, and the problem is that we live in a free market system. So when they talk about cancel culture, I'm sick of hearing Fox News complaining about cancel culture. This is the free market. This is what you love. It's not like there's some judge and jury that you go before. You know what I mean? There's not some judge and jury that you go before. Can you focus on what we're doing right now?
What?
I'm talking to Gio.
Oh.
I'm sorry. People keep coming up to me. I'm like,
well, I'm saying there's no judge and jury that you go before to get canceled. All right. This is just people that say, we're not going to, follow you on Twitter. We're not going to buy your products. We're not going to, this is the basis of freedom. We're saying we're not going to do that because you pissed us off by doing such and such. Now, like the Dr. Seuss thing was ridiculous. That was Dr. Seuss's Enterprises saying, basically, we don't like this anymore. We're not going to publish these 6 books. And all of a sudden, people are saying Dr. Seuss is canceled. No, he's not. They did it on their own. That's called free will.
You can still get Cat in the Hat. You can still get Cat in the Hat. So,
well, do you know why?
There's just like 6 books. And
then do you know why they pulled those books? Because there were monkeys with blackface on them that were supposed to be representing Africa. And then there was a quote unquote Chinaman and another one with a pointy hat and a long goat. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they were just getting ahead of it. That's it.
I want to talk a little bit more about some of the other things that got canceled this week. Can y'all hear me okay? I know it's loud.
Yeah, that's fine.
And it was Charles M. Blow who wrote this op-ed about this. And so Pepe Le Pew, Speedy Gonzalez, somebody else that's getting canceled. Tom and Jerry had Mammy Two Shoes. That was the big old black lady that was in the back always yelling, Tom. Yep. And then, Charles Blow says, right-wing blogs are mad because I said Pepe Le Pew added to rape culture. Let's see. He grabs, kisses girls. He's a stranger who repeatedly, without consent, does this against her will. She struggles mightily to get away from him, but he won't release her. He locks doors to prevent her from escaping. And I want to add, Dave Chappelle brought this up a long time ago in the Killing Them Softly special. He called Pepe Le Pew a rapist.
Well, he kind of is, to be honest. He's a little, I mean, look, but there's a line. Do you know how many relationships I've been in that have started with me just being aggressive and leaning in and kissing a girl?
I mean, I recall on my experiences with men, and it's like, yeah, there's a lot of guys that are handsy,
Well, not even
some girls like that. Maybe some girls don't, but
not even handsy. But the thing is, as a man, you have to be aware of it, and you really have to be confident and sure of what you're doing before you do it. She's attracted to you and she consents. Yeah, well, I've never leaned in to kiss a girl and then gotten like, oh, hey, rapist, I've never, but only because I wait till I know I get that look, and as a man, you have to try and figure out, what's the climate of this conversation? What's the climate of what's going on here?
Read the room, right?
Well, and if you're not reading the room, just let it go. Just let it go. There's another one somewhere else.
Speaking of reading the room, they tried to cancel Eminem this week. They came for him for the song Love the Way You Lie, saying that it glorifies violence in relationships. And he came back with a song called Tone Deaf. because that is tone deaf as fuck. And this is what I mean, that not all canceling is good. It's like some of this is in hyperdrive, and I definitely admit that. You don't have to cancel everybody. That song was to bring attention and awareness to domestic violence in relationships. If you were old enough, you might know that, but y'all aren't, and y'all are trying to cancel it. So
yeah, well, I think issue is half the people who are canceling weren't alive when any of these things were around. So a lot of it's contextual, and you have to know what was happening at the time, what was humor. Even when you go back to when you're saying Dr. Seuss had a Chinaman hat, when Dr. Seuss was making books, people weren't traveling they were way they were. There wasn't internet, there wasn't photography. Like, if you didn't make those Chinese symbols, people didn't know if it was a Chinese person or any other kind of person. Like, it's how you drew.
So it had to be exaggerated so that they would be like, okay, that's China.
I don't think being racist by making a Chinese person look as Chinese as possible for people who don't know what China even is.
I don't think it was just Chinese as possible, Abby. I think it was like negative things related to whatever race they were imitating, be it Black, Native American, Chinese, you know.
Updating. That's it. I mean, look, Dr. Seuss himself used to draw, when we were in World War II, he used to draw all these cartoons that were very racist and very much derogatory towards the Japanese. But we were at war with them. And then later, he changed his mind. He recanted all that. He apologized. And he wrote a book called Horton Hears a Who, which is widely believed to be his apology to the Japanese people for doing that. But it doesn't matter. Why would he even have to apologize? We were literally at war with these people. We were killing each other in the Pacific.
It's not even about apologizing. It's just acknowledging. And like, okay, so I see what you're saying, Abby. For example, with Pepe Le Pew, right? My friend, I was talking to him about this today, and he brought up, he's like, it's a play on this this French persona. I forgot the guy's name, like Charles something, that's all like kissy and like that. So he's like, Pepe Le Pew's imitating this guy who was popular during the 1930s. Pepe Le Pew's created in 1945. However, I grew up watching it. It just became ingrained in our culture. It's part of, like, it's an American icon, that cartoon. So I do
watching it, and I
do
raped
see how it
anybody.
can negatively reinforce things in kids' heads to think that that kind of behavior is okay. No, if a woman.
You're muted.
I think she cut out.
Nah, she's muted. I can see it on her mic on the thing. But there she goes. Now she's coming. Anyway, you know, like I said, I watched Pepe Le Pew growing up, you know, in my very formative years, and still never raped anybody. So maybe you're just either you got rape in you or you don't got rape in you. I was never informed. It's kind of like the same thing Bill Burr always says about the NFL. He always says the same thing. Oh, yeah, you know, the NFL's got a real problem with domestic violence. As opposed to what? Plumbers? You know, like, I was never informed about whether I'm going to hit a woman or not based on a running back for the Baltimore Ravens. Like, you either got evil in you or you don't got evil.
But it has an effect on people. I'm sorry, it does. I think that these racist tropes had an effect on white people, and they think certain things about other races based upon how these cartoons were portrayed, you know? And yeah, it's silly, it's a cartoon, but don't act like we're not out here saying media doesn't influence us. What you consume influences you.
Well, yeah, media does. Well, there's a great example of that. Yes, media does influence you, because how many times have you gone in the ocean and thought about Jaws?
Plenty.
There's no rationality behind that. You know, you're more likely to get killed by.
I'm in Florida. There's plenty of sharks. There's rationality.
I'm saying it doesn't matter statistically. You're more likely to get killed by a falling vending machine than you are to get killed by a shark. But we still think about Jaws when we go in the ocean. So I'm trying to agree with you on, like, yes, media can influence you, but you still got to have that evil in you. You know what I mean? It's not like you were a good, wholesome boy and then Pepe Le Pew made you rape some chick. No, that doesn't work like that. It's not like you saw Ray Rice punch a woman in an elevator and then you went, oh, okay, I guess it's okay with me too. You know, that doesn't compute. You got evil in you or you don't.
Yeah, but you also express with the times and realize that those shows were older shows, and you can see what, like you were saying, like Dr. Seuss was doing, negative Japanese because they were at war. Like there's different things that are happening. The shows that are being made today aren't having tonality learn from it, but probably whatever else is going to be 20 years from now, looking back at what we're doing,
right?
It's racist. Like we might be doing stuff that's completely wrong and against, gender fluidity, and like they're going to cancel our shows that we're making now that we think are completely politically correct. And it's just like grow with the times, and it doesn't mean that we can't look back and say, well, that wasn't exactly, the best way.
Seinfeld had a great joke about that too, and it's kind of like what you're saying is like he said, I wonder if I'll ever get to a time where life will change, and then I'll have to tell my kids, when I was a kid, dogs weren't even allowed to vote. They were just pets, like are we going to continue to evolve like that? But it's one of those things where you kind of have to, a grain of salt, that's it. But the main problem with cancel culture, I think, is because now everybody's so aware of what they're saying and what they're doing. We don't have enough controversy here in the here and now, Every once in a while, Roseanne will take some Ambien and tweet some shit. But that's every once in a while, right? But we don't have any of that controversy going on like we did all the time before. So now we're having to reach back throughout history and try to find other things that are wrong. And I don't think it necessarily negatively impacts anybody. I think that the attitudes that are brought out by it are way worse. I think that the cancel culture and PC gone mad absolutely helped to fuel the fire of these ultra alt-right wingers, out here saying they're losing the country and they're doing this. It's just fuel for the fire. If I could shake the liberal movement and just scream one thing at them, it would be like, pick your fucking battles. Stop trying to die on every hill.
No, we are picking our battles and we're fighting them. And anyway, speaking of controversy,
every battle tooth and nail.
Speaking of controversy, I'd like to welcome our guest, Abby Ballin, to the show. She is the second annual Funny and Pink Femme Fest winner and a comedian. She's a photographer. She's awesome. She's new to the scene. Welcome, Abby.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So,
free and modern woman.
What'd you say, Terry?
I said she's a free and modern woman.
I agree. She is a free and modern woman. I'm glad to have her on the show.
You're muted.
You're out again. All right. I'm glad to have you on the
show. Somebody be happy for me.
Yeah, we're all happy. Thanks for being here.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me. You guys are funny. You guys are like a little married couple over here bickering. I'm like, do I have to step in? What's happening?
Yeah, you can step in. But no, so how long have you been doing comedy, Abby?
So technically, the first time I ever got on a stage was a year ago in February. However, like last year, 2020, 3 of those months afterwards, did not hit a stage till July. So I can't say a year, actually. But almost.
Yeah. And you've made quite some moves within the year that you like, and then it was during this year, which was a crazy year. Have you done a lot of Zoom
stuff with comedy, you mean?
Yeah.
Early when we just got locked down, we did some podcasting. And then once we were able to go on mics and do shows and all that, I hadn't really done more than just business stuff. Nothing fun like this. So
did you do any of the Zoom comedy stand-up shows? I think is what she was getting at.
No comedy, just like podcasts and stuff with other comedians.
I wouldn't do it either. I wouldn't, you know, I got asked to do a couple of the Zoom shows and I was like, nah, that's
Don't
not,
knock it till you try it.
I'm gonna knock, I'm gonna knock it before I try it. Okay. Cause the only reason
It ain't that bad. It's not that bad.
I
And you know
do,
what?
listen, I do comedy because I like the interaction with the people. I like feeling it. I like being in the moment. That's why I do
The
it.
interaction on
Not
Zoom is
that.
awkward.
If I can't
But
have that, I mean, I don't give a shit. You know, if I can't have that, that's the only thing I'm in it for. If it's a free show, fine. If it's a paid show, fine. As long as I'm getting what I want out of it, that's the only reason I do it. And if I can't have that interaction, I'm out.
all right, enough about you, Terry.
All
Let's
right.
talk to our guests. I
I,
said enough about you, Terry. Let's talk to our guests. All right,
well,
so
I approach the subject.
Abby, what is your favorite venue?
So for like sentimental reasons, my first stage I ever went on was Gold Diggers in Miami in Wynwood. So that, of course, like I'll always think of that since that was my first stage. But you know, nothing really to compare so far with Palm Beach Improv. They've just run some.
You can't say improv. That's too easy. Everybody would say improv.
He
No,
does
but
that to everybody. He does that to everybody.
Improvs, but I think there's something about the Palm Beach one. I actually got to do my, which was awesome. Love it. It's great. But I feel like, I don't know, there's something about that really feel like you're performing in a way that I've never felt on any other stage. Now, I've only performed in South Florida. I've only performed in 2020. There's plenty of other stages and places to go. And you just asked me what was my favorite. Now, I don't have to do an improv, but then it would be, like I said,
Gold Diggers was a good one.
We'll go with
I
that one.
haven't been to.
We have to limit it because if we allow the improvs, that's what everybody would say because those are great rooms. It's where you get the biggest crowds. It's where you get the best shows. You know, so we're trying to support the smaller rooms. You know, the ones that need it.
oh yeah. I mean, every room is good, especially for me, so new in this thing, because you learn from each room. Like, I don't care if I did a room the other day where there's maybe 4 people in there. I loved it. I was like, this is my time. Weird as hell. You were there.
Oh yes, yes. The Boca Black Box.
Oh, I wasn't gonna say the name. Come on.
Why? Fine.
I mean, they've had a good crowd, but that night we did not have a big crowd. But it was, I gotta say, that night it was. I thought this. I was like, you know, there was a small crowd and a lot of comedians, but I really liked that crowd. I did.
It was, and like, I feel like the way we all got to perform was just very like smooth because there was no pressure and everyone was just very much there with you, very focused. It was a really cool vibe. So it's hard at this point, like even the other night with the hecklers, I loved it because it's all, you know, something for me to like practice the muscle. Like, how do I do that crowd work with a heckler that wants to be stealing the mic? Like, how do I do this and manage it? It's a challenge. So I like all rooms. I'm like one of those people. I like every room. They're great.
Yeah, you got that personality where it seems like you happy no matter where you at. It doesn't matter. You can have a good time. So what is your proudest moment so far?
Well, I guess my proudest, it's hard to say proudest moment. My most shocking moment was that the Red Light put me on as a headliner because that made 0 sense. So I would say that was my ballsiest moment for sure. Like looking back on it, I'm like, who the do you think you are?
How much time did you have to do at that?
So they told me to do 30 and I thought he was going to light me at like 25 or something. And he didn't light me till 40. I did 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Which, God forbid, who wants to listen to this talk for 45 minutes? That was something else, man.
So did you have?
They always say don't take it if you're not ready for it, but you know, I feel like I learned on the job, you know, so at least you got some practice and you know what it feels like to headline.
You've only been performing for a year, so did you have 45 minutes worth of material, or did you just kind of vamp it through, kind of do some crowd work or fill the gaps?
I mean, I was able to actually do some stories, which is not what you're able to do so often because you don't have the time to do some storytelling. So yeah, did I have enough stuff to talk about in 45 minutes? Absolutely. Was it pieced together? Like when I look back on it, I'm like, oh, that's actually not bad, but oh my God, could it be better? Like if I actually knew every place I was going to say it and, mixed in with, just, I don't know, I would have done a few things differently, but I'm just amazed I had that much to talk to, that I held the crowd for that long. And yeah, but I'm like, I'm going to take a beat on that one for a minute.
Was that an embarrassing moment? Because that was going to be my next question. What's your most embarrassing moment?
One of my first performances at the Improv Palm Beach, I wore a tube top bra with a sheer top over it. And the tube top my boobs just kept trying to fly out. So the entire performance, I'm fidgeting like this the whole time, just trying to keep my tits inside, like up. And I look back on that.
It was there. I think I was actually there at that show.
Yeah, I almost can't use anything from it because I'm just like fidgeting the whole time. And I did it one other time too at that same, improv where I wore a mini skirt and I had to keep hiking it down.
Hearing you say that makes me feel like, because I've been like, I took some classes and I was told women shouldn't wear dresses on stage. I like dresses. Like all I would wear was dresses before I even started comedy. But now I'm like a uniform, like pants and a top. Usually solid, just easy, and I don't have to think about it. And now that you say that, that makes me feel like, because you can be cute, but whenever you're cute, you always like trying to stay cute all night, So,
well,
maybe a maxi dress, maybe, I don't know. 'Cause I like loose maxi dresses, but I don't want to end up looking like, a beach swell in my fucking pictures. So I don't know. Maybe I'll stick with the pants and the top.
I mean, you can wear a dress, just don't wear one that's like your cooter's about to fall out. You're going to nip slip. Like there's ways of learn from it. And I still take forever just because I'm the chick who's like running out the door while putting on her shoes. Like I can't know what I'm wearing till 5 seconds before. So
I don't know how much that is about dresses or skirts or things. I think it's just about looking too nice on stage, because there is a thing in stand-up where you don't want to see a guy in a tux or a suit. You want the guy that's just like, he just woke up, just fresh to the daylight. Oh, and then he's right on the mic and he's doing this whiny, complaining thing about life or this or that. But there is a lot of that, because if you watch comedians, especially touring ones, I mean, when comedians tour, look at the way they come out. There's very few that still dress to the nines to do regular gigs. Maybe Kevin Hart, maybe. But the rest are just, basketball shorts and an oversized t-shirt, or just, loose jeans and an old grungy hat.
I'm on the show.
Can't really hear you, Abby. Can't hear you. Yeah. Try it again, Abby.
The waitress.
Can you hear me now?
I'm at an establishment. I'm at Hullabaloo. Come on out. Sorry for interrupting. What were y'all talking about?
He was saying that male comedians, even when they get to, do big TV performances, a lot of times they're in basketball shorts and t-shirts, not, that dressed up. And I was trying to point out that if you look at a lot of headlining well-known female comedians, they do dress up. They may not be slutty, they may not be whatever, but they're wearing dresses. They have their stuff.
I grew up watching like sisters, and they dress up.
Yeah,
they used to, So,
but if you'll notice,
you are, and like for me, I'm either this person who's still in her yoga outfit, who puts this on because it guilts me into having to work out, because if I take these clothes off and I didn't work out today, I can't fall asleep. So I'm either that person or I'm in a dress. So I could maybe be this person on stage, but then I'd probably do like lunges and squats while telling jokes. And
That's okay. You know, there's some comics that do and you do a lot of moving on stage now that I think about it. So,
yeah.
Abby, I want to keep things moving along because the show's going to start at 8. I know Brad wants to get out of here around 8. Tell us who you are as a person, like outside of comedy.
I'm a photographer, so I've always done, in production my entire adult life, whether it was photography or film or editing, producing. So that's why, even though I'm doing comedy now, I'm not that unfamiliar from how shows work, how producing shows work, and how marketing works. So I think that's one of the reasons why I've been able to at least look like I know what I'm doing, even though I'm still figuring it out. And then aside from that, yeah, I'm from New York. I moved down to South Florida 4 years ago, but moved to Atlanta for a little bit. So over the course of 4 years, I've been in this shithole. No offense. No, I'm so happy to be here. I love it. Makes a lot of sense for me. Like I recently discovered I'm actually trash. So I belong here.
Are you a Florida woman?
I'm now blonde. I'm now tan. I'm Florida. It's what. Yeah, I don't know. I'm an open book, but too much to tell for this short little podcast. But ask away if you want.
So I think it's time to play the blame game. That's what I think.
Okay.
And I mean, this call is like a little bit callback of what we were talking about, but you wear whatever the fuck you want to on stage. I appreciate it, but who's to blame?
My mother. Almost all my clothes. This is my sister's sweatshirt. Almost all my dresses are my mom's old dresses. Like that red hooker dress is my mom's dress. Like I almost never wear clothes that were ever mine. They're like some dead person clothes, or they're my family's. Like I'm very
but you definitely have your own style and are not afraid to flaunt it. And you don't see that. You don't see that on the comedy stage.
That was the thing that I was thinking was at least along the same lines. Women have to walk, especially female comics, they have to walk a different line only because your looks, your sexuality, it all comes into play. So when you do your marketing or when you do your shoots or all this, you're playing this balance between, trying to be taken seriously, but also using something that is going to help you gain a following. So who's to blame
about that? Like
what I'm saying is it's a delicate balance between.
Why can't I just do that without people thinking it's for this to gain followers or
that's what I was getting to.
Oh, sorry.
That's what I was getting to was who's to blame for the fact that you can't be a female comedian and be yourself if that is who you are without people just going, oh, she's just doing that for the attention.
Yeah.
I mean, we're comedians, we're all doing stuff for the attention. Like that's
true. Exactly right.
I don't know. I mean, to me, who's for that is my father. I mean, he had me posing on the beach like at 5 years old, like some weird ass shit, man. But it works. I still know those angles. I figured it out.
Got some angles.
Yeah, I'm just gonna blame my parents for everything. Let's just wrap this segment up. It's mom, dad, or mom and dad.
All right.
All right.
Just like
do you have anything you want to promote? You got any shows? You got any podcasts? You got any merch? You got anything? What do you want to?
I mean, I got to do some comedy merch. All merch is from my photography business, which it goes hand in hand. Like I grabbed my own pussy shirt, like how it works. And Ballin, my last name is Ballin, so I got tons of Ballin stuff. So if you want to pretend Ballin, I can hook you up. But I'm gonna be the butcher shop on Thursday with Corey, so I'm excited about that one. I haven't done that one yet, so that'll be fun.
That is a fun room.
Day is April Fool's Day. Special surprise show that okay, a couple weeks up. So I'll have some guys and stuff. But yeah, that's it for the next couple weeks. I was super slammed with like, so mostly writing. I'm writing a bunch of stuff. I'm doing a lot of photo, a lot of promo. But I'm excited for the butcher shop.
Where can people follow you online?
So Instagram, it's a Ballin comedy, a Ballin comedy. That's probably this is otherwise at Ballin on Facebook. I'm fine. Basically the same stuff on Instagram.
Okay.
She's like, she's like, God.
No, I feel like, I don't know if it's my phone, but your sound keeps cutting in and out.
It does. It's been doing that. But okay. Well, we got it out, right?
Yeah, I think it's time for your words for white people and wrap it up because we got 2 minutes till 8 o'clock.
And by the way, I will be at Nick Masick's show on the 18th, the Blue Jeans Comedy Show down there. So if you want to come out, just check back on my Facebook wall. I put all the stuff on there and the information and all that. So anyway, words for white people. We talked about previously, a few weeks ago, we talked about knowing your enemy. Now we're going to talk about divisiveness, right? So I want anybody who watches this, because I know a couple of you radicals do, because you constantly text me or message me about it. Just remember, you need to believe in issues, not against other people. That's what divisiveness is, where you don't really give a shit about an issue that comes up. Do you really care if Dr. Seuss Enterprises says, we don't want to publish these 6 books? They weren't even good books. You know what I mean? They were the shitty ones. You're just up on your soapbox because you want to blame the other side. That's it. It's less about what you believe, and it's more about what they believe. You don't necessarily believe in all the shit you're saying, but you hate all the shit they're saying. So maybe just take a second and remember that you're a human being in 2021. And it's important for you to believe in things you actually believe in instead of just hating what the person on the other side believes in. That's the difference. You know, stop trying to own the libs. Stop trying to stick it to the conservatives. Believe in what you believe in, because the rest of it's just poison. It's toxic and it gets inside you and it fucks with who you are. It changes your personality. It changes your outlook on the world. It makes you more bitter and more surly and more judgmental against other people. Stop trying to own each other. Stop trying to own the day and just believe what you believe instead of telling somebody else what to believe. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Terry, for those words for the white people.
You're welcome. My fellow honkies.
I don't know. I'm gonna wrap it up just because it's so loud here. God,
yeah,
it's a mistake.
We gotta get over these on-site shit. It ain't working.
Yeah, I don't like it. We gotta get a guest host next time. All right, so guys, thank you for tuning in. Abby, thank you for being so patient with us. I'll be here tonight at Ballin Theater in Miami on Friday. I'm headlining the Black is the New Black show. So I'll be around this week. Come out. And we'll be back next week. So thank you for tuning in. Show's about to start. Thank you guys for being patient. Thank you, Brad.